Good morning, happy Saturday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host Chum Change. It's live and recorded, and we're just going to go over some crypto news. So they claim that XRP is pumping, but it's moved a whole 2 cents. So that was one of the questions in the chat that I saw someone asking if XRP was really pumping, and it's honestly not, which is kind of shocking to me a little bit. So I want to see what they got to say. And yes, Crypto KJ, I'm asking you how you're putting the Bitcoin symbol in the chat. That's not an emoji. How does that happen? How do you do that? Let me know. And we're going to be actually, I want to talk about the documentary that CNBC television put out with this guy that stole $3 billion in Bitcoin. He stole it and lost it. He it's kind of a wild story, right? So I would listen to like maybe 10 minutes of it, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. So I wanted to watch with you guys, see what you thought about it. We just rip it apart. I was just going to hang out with you guys today. There's really not too much news going around, but anyways, let's get into this, see what the market's looking like today, and then we'll go from there. We have Bitcoin 29,749. It's really close to 30K, which is nice. Ethereum, we have 1605. Solana is about $29. It was just $29 right before we started the stream. XRP, as you can see, 51 cents. It's actually down 0.27%. Not that it was much higher than it is right now. So yeah, that's that. We have Link, we have 8%, sorry, 6.78%. It's at $8. Let's see, Dogecoin's at 6 cents again. LTC 64 bucks, not too bad. ETC $15. And guys, if you can hear this little I have the iPolo machine running right next to me in this studio, and it like keeps ramping up and down. It's loud as shit to me. I don't know if you guys can hear it through the mic. If you can, I'll unplug it. Just let me know. All right, let's check out the crypto bubbles over here. See what the biggest earner of the week is. Holy hell, 110% on Hex. What? Why? That's weird. Renders up 13.5. BSV 63.7. Oh, you can't hear. Okay, I thought you were saying you can't hear me. I literally just asked you guys a question if you could hear it, and you're answering in the chat. Appreciate it. Sorry, I thought I was muted for a second. We have BSV 63.7%, Rollbit 29%. Let's see. Solana 31.5. Not too bad. Let's check out the day. Hex is up 26% on the day. We have Caspa up 5%. Nice. What's Caspa at? Price of Caspa, it's almost 5 cents again. Hell yeah, that's awesome, dude. You know what, I'm super excited to see what Caspa does in the bull run. Do you guys think it's gonna explode, or is it gonna just kind of stay stagnant? I'm assuming it's gonna pump in price. It'd be very nice if it did, but I don't know. Solana, I'm most disappointed that I didn't purchase any, because I knew at $19 it was a steal, and now we're up a third from that price, or just about, right? Kind of crazy. And on the day it's 8.1% alone. Absolutely nuts. All right, let's check out the fear and greed index, and then we'll get into a few other things. 63. Wow, look at that. We're actually in greed. I haven't seen greed in quite some time over here on this fear and greed index chart. So that's damn, that's interesting actually. All right, let's check out the top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USDC, Lido Staked Ether, Solana, Cardano, and Dogecoin. Litecoin's in 16th, Shiba still in 19th. I need that coin to pump, please. Somebody pump it, please. 15 cents would be nice. It would, wouldn't it? All right, let's check out the mine the ASIC, because we are mainly a crypto mining channel, and I am going to be dropping a video tomorrow about how this little iPolo is actually doing Ethash coins. Kind of neat. But besides the point, let's get into this. I kind of just want a time capsule, see what the best earner is over here, most profits per day on what miners. We have the KS3 $117.29. We have that's the Antminer KS3, the 9.4 terahash. The Ice River KS3 is 8 terahashes. That's just under $100 a day. That's still absurd. $100 a day, and this thing is $16,000 apparently. Price that's still pretty good actually. That's really not that long of a initial turn on investment, right? Let's see, we have a Jazzminer X16Q. This is $4.29 a day. I guess you're making the most with ETH, F, and ZIL. I'm not into ETH F. I don't know if you guys are. Jazzminer X4Q, sorry, that's the X4. The X4Q is making $1.63. I'm pretty much just looking at the ones that I have, right? If you guys want me to look at anything specific, please let me know. We have the Ice River KS0 making $1.18 a day. That is still quite depressing, to be honest, and I think these prices need to drop to like 300 bucks. If they're like 300 bucks, then yeah, they're worth it, but 478 bucks even at that price, I don't think it's worth buying. That's just my opinion. Jasminer X41U is still making 68 cents a day on Octaspace. Not too bad. Not too bad. Could be worse. All right. Yeah, if there's any other ones, let me know. I can look up other miners if you guys are interested. All right, let's get into this. So first things first, this is Crypto World's CNBC television. XRP rises after the SEC drops claims against Ripple Labs executives. They actually talked to, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, like the legal face of Ripple. So I want to see if that's who they're actually talking to. But real quick, Mr. Geek of All Trades being a member for 14 months, dude. You're awesome. What up, bitches? It's way too early to hear this knucklehead already. Listen, all right? You're the worst. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for being a member of 14 months. You're awesome. All right, let's get into this, see what they got to say, and then we're going to watch that documentary, and we're going to see how that guy lost $3 billion in Bitcoin. Let's do it.
Today, Bitcoin and Ether head for a positive week. Crypto data firm Chainalysis says the technology's role in terrorism is overstated. And the SEC seeks dismissal of its lawsuit against Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. We talked to Ripple's chief legal officer.
Crypto Frank, my man.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Cryptocurrency is getting a boost as we head into the weekend. Bitcoin briefly topped $30,000 for the second time this week, driven largely by optimism about a Bitcoin ETF and a flight to safety as investors weigh the fiscal position in the U.S. and uncertainty about the U.S. banking system, as well as issues abroad, like the war between Israel and Hamas. The move in Bitcoin began Thursday night as the 10-year Treasury yield touched 5% for the first time since 2007. Historically, high rates have pressured Bitcoin, and they may still hold it back from reaching new highs unless we get easing policy from the Fed. Meantime, rates pressuring the stock market, with crypto moving in opposition. Bitcoin capped the week with a 10% gain, ending above $29,000 for its best week since June. Ether climbed above $1,600 to notch a 4% weekly gain. And in the meantime, Ripple's XRP token hitting 52 cents, jumping after the SEC moved to dismiss its case against the payments company. More on that in a bit.
6.12%. That was as of yesterday, and it's, what, down a little bit today, so.
Let's talk about the top stories.
Overall, it was like 2 cents. Nothing crazy.
Data firm Chainalysis is out with a new post saying crypto's role in terrorist financing is overstated. We've told you this week about the growing attention world leaders are placing on crypto in the wake of the war between Israel and Hamas. We saw lawmakers on Capitol Hill send a letter to the Biden administration asking it to look into terrorist financing in crypto, and the Treasury Department placing new sanctions on individuals and financial organizations linked to Hamas who use virtual currencies. Well, Chainalysis says that funds flowing through service providers affiliated with terror financing may look bigger than they are, that the majority of those funds may actually be unrelated. The problem is when someone sends crypto through a service provider, it gets mixed with other funds to other users. To solve this, Chainalysis says KYC and AML have to be of the utmost importance for service providers. Next, the SEC asked a judge to dismiss its lawsuit against Ripple execs Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. The agency told the judge on Thursday that it's dropping its claims that Garlinghouse, the CEO, and Larson, a co-founder, aided and abetted sales of the crypto token XRP. This started back in December 2020, when the SEC accused Ripple of raising more than $1 billion with the sale of XRP. Of course, those claims were put in question after a judge ruled in July that the sale of XRP on public crypto exchanges didn't constitute the sale of securities, but that the sale of XRP to hedge funds and other institutional buyers did violate the law. This dismissal comes as the SEC has faced multiple setbacks over its attempts to regulate the cryptocurrency industry through the federal courts. Well, for our main story, I spoke with Stu Alderati, the chief legal officer at Ripple, about the dismissal and the current state of regulation in the U.S.
Real quick, I can't wait for my sweet new mug to come in. You guys haven't seen, I just pinned the in the comments. I got some new mugs over on the store. I created a store this week for like merchandise that I want to use or want to actually purchase, and it's kind of hysterical. I actually added these ones last night. Look at this one real quick before we get into what he has to say. This is it's fine with an ASIC on the table. I added the ASIC to it. How great's that? And then we have the where is it? Let me see. The mining rig one. I added the mining rig one last night too. Hysterical. Tell me what you guys think about these in the chat. Super interested to know if you guys think those are hysterical or not. I love that mining rig though. Looks great. All right, let's get back to it. Sorry.
All right, Stu, thank you so much for joining us today. This dismissal is the latest win for Ripple and its executives following that partial victory that we were all so excited about back in July over the sale of XRP. What does this latest move from the SEC mean for the company, for XRP, and for your executives?
Yeah, so this is a capitulation by the SEC that I think that they really didn't have any case here. It's our third victory in a row. In July, a federal court ruled that the digital asset XRP is not in and of itself a security. The SEC claimed it was. In October, the SEC tried to take an immediate appeal of that decision. The judge said,
Yeah, so he's the Ripple Labs chief, what did they just call him? Legal officer?
Immediate appeal of that decision. The judge said, no, you can't take an immediate appeal. And let me remind you of all of the reasons why you were wrong in the first place. And then in the face of that, they capitulated, they surrendered. They really decided to dismiss what was left of the case. I think that is unprecedented that the SEC would do that, but I also think it's revealing that they have finally acknowledged that they really don't have a case here. And more importantly, for the industry, they've been trying to seize jurisdiction over the crypto economy through something called regulation by enforcement. And I think this is the first time that they've had a company and executives with the resources to fight back. And I think they were surprised by that. And when put through the litmus tests of the judicial process, it's really shown that they don't have a case. So there's a bigger issue here. There's a bigger policy issue here in terms of what is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat. And first, Rob Mine says, poor guy needs to adjust his camera looking like a Simpsons character, which is hysterical because he kind of does. But I was more interested in Miner for 9. It says Space Mesh 225 TIB plotted 640 SMH / last 24 hours. He said safe trade 0.24 USDT / SMH, and then he said equals 153.6 USDT in the last 24 hours. I love my GPUs. How in the world are you making $124 $153 in the last 24 hours? That's absurd. Please teach me.
What is this country going to do in terms of getting rational regulation for the crypto economy? And then
DJ, post a link to their Discord in the live chat, please.
Separately, for an agency like the SEC that really is a bit out of control, it's really the administrative stake gone awfully bad, keeping their eye on the ball, right? They come after a good company like Ripple, entrepreneurs like our executives who have built this company up over the past 11 years. And while they're doing that, they're keeping the eye off the ball of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, all of these companies that are going bankrupt. So consumers are really getting harmed through this wrong-minded approach from the SEC when it comes to crypto in the United States.
Does this latest development change how you think about regulation in the U.S.? It doesn't provide any more clarity, but it is yet another potential blow to the idea that the SEC has a clear mandate to regulate crypto. So, I mean, does this make things murkier?
Yeah, I think for Ripple and the digital asset XRP that we use in our tech stack for the products that serve our customers, cross-border payments, this provides absolute clarity that Ripple's use and distribution of XRP does not constitute a security, and therefore the SEC has no jurisdiction over our company, and they have no jurisdiction over the digital asset XRP. So that's a great thing for Ripple, and it's a great thing for our products and our services. I think more broadly speaking, we still need a clear regulatory framework in the U.S. when it comes to crypto. Ripple's a global company. We operate in Singapore, in the UK, in the EU, in Dubai, in Brazil, and through a joint venture in Japan and Australia. All of those places we work in cooperation with and under the supervision of regulators, clear licensing authorities. We don't have that in the US. So even in the face of this victory, which is very, very important for Ripple, and I think puts us in a unique position, the jobs, the tax dollars, the entrepreneurship, it's all being moved offshore. And I think that's ultimately a tragedy for the US.
Back in July, your CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, threatened that Ripple would leave the US if it lost the case against the SEC. you didn't lose the case, but where does Ripple stand now in terms of investment here in the US? Are you still looking abroad for that regulatory clarity and opportunity?
So I'm sitting here in San Francisco, where we have one of our major offices, and the company was founded in San Francisco. That being said, why we've been fighting the SEC over the past 3 years, we have built the company mostly outside of the U.S. The company has never been in a stronger position, both in terms of number of customers, products, revenue, cash on the balance sheet, but all of that has been built outside of the U.S. in the jurisdictions that I mentioned earlier. That is because of the regulatory hostility that we have in the U.S. So again, as I talked about earlier, while we won, while we are in a unique position because of that win, there's still an undercurrent of hostility from our government when it comes to crypto entrepreneurship and the crypto economy. And I think until that is resolved, it's very difficult and challenging for any company to really build robustly in the U.S. So we haven't abandoned the U.S. We still have employees in the U.S. But over the past year, and certainly over the past quarter, well more than 50% of our hiring and investment has been outside of the U.S.
Well, I also want to ask about MiCA in Europe. We heard from Coinbase earlier this week that it's setting up shop in Ireland to prepare for the rollout of MiCA. What are your plans there?
So we also established an office in Ireland last year. We have applications pending with the Central Bank of Ireland, both for a virtual asset service provider license and an e-money license. We'll work with the regulator and hopefully satisfy them that we are equipped from a regulatory and a compliance standpoint to operate under their supervision. And hopefully once we get that license, we'll be able to use that not only to operate in Ireland, but to passport that through the EU. We're doing the same in the UK. I think it was a few weeks ago, we received our major payments institution license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore. We're hopeful we'll get clearance in Dubai before the end of the year. We have an agreement with the Central Bank of Brazil to do business there. We operate under a regulatory supervision through a joint venture in Japan. So this is the direction of travel for the industry.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World this week. We'll be back again on Monday.
Shout out to CNBC Crypto World for that. Sorry, I honestly didn't pay attention to any of it, so I can't comment on anything. I'm over here trying to get into, so I got into this Discord called Space Mesh. I actually, DJ, your link didn't even come up in my chat, which is weird, but I just verified, and now I'm just kind of digging through it. So if you guys are interested, feel free, obviously, go check this out. Let me see, invite, copy. I'll just invite all you guys in the live chat. That way you guys can get into it. And we're going to continue with the daily grind. We're going to go into that. I want to get this to this document. Documentary rather. How to steal and lose more than $3 billion in Bitcoin. Has anybody seen this actually? Apparently this is a very good documentary on how this guy, I guess, was involved in, I don't know if he was involved in Silk Road, but he was involved in Bitcoin way back in the day, and he was like a secret billionaire, and nobody knew. So I want to see what the hell it's all about. Also, if you're in Discord, Mr. Who was it? Miner for 9. If you're in Discord, if you could DM me, that'd be awesome, just so we can become friends, and I will, I'm going to ask you some questions later on today after I read through their Space Mesh thing. I want to see what this is all about, because it's pretty neat, but I don't know anything about it, so I gotta dive into it a bit. All right, let's get into this. If you guys have any questions, we're gonna rip this apart. I want to just talk and comment through this little documentary here, and then we're gonna raid Mr. Crypto Mikhail. Let's get into it.
Jimmy, how do you feel after this today? Jimmy, you feel like the judge was fair today? Why'd you steal the money, Jimmy?
How's that guy walking with a coat over his head?
A spectacular crime.
This is going to be a huge case, and there's a lot more money that we don't know about.
In a small town.
Shocked.
I was shocked. I was
Why?
so surprised.
A 28-year-old secret Bitcoin billionaire, his private jets, wild parties, and dark secret.
It was just a surreal feeling, and with Jimmy, there were no limits.
This is the story of one of the biggest crypto
I'm
hype
sure those girls are hanging out with him because they wanted to.
of all time.
He's living this party monster lifestyle and with no visible means of support.
Right. With
Honest
clues
God.
dating back to the earliest days of Bitcoin itself, in a story that reveals a dark truth about the hackers and coders who created cryptocurrency in the first place.
A huge amount of Bitcoin is leaking out of the system, and you have no idea where it's going. It's a huge question.
And the man who could have gotten away with it, except for one phone
Dude,
call.
look at the house. All right, look at the house he's living in. Look at this. It's wild. Damn it.
It's a huge question.
I'm gonna pause it.
And the man who could have gotten
on.
away with it, except
Look at the house. Like, this is a perfect way to be like inconspicuous. You have like a small house, it's not a giant mansion, and like you have billions of dollars. Like, this is how you do it, people. Just saying.
for one phone call that led
Not
to an
steal money, but in general, this is how you hide your wealth. Like, you actually just live under the radar and don't act like an asshole.
abrupt end to a nearly decade-long manhunt.
Clark County 911.
Crazy.
What is your name, sir?
It's Jimmy Zong, Z-H-O-N-G.
He called the police on himself. He called the police on himself. So
They
sad how
don't
he
get a
got
lot
caught.
of big-time crime in Athens, Georgia. It's a
Well, I don't know how he got caught, but we're gonna find out.
college town, home to the University of Georgia, so they're used to college town type crimes, bar fights, break-ins, that kind of thing.
Clark County 911.
Hey, I was gone for the past week or so, and someone broke into my house.
And what is your name, sir?
It's Jimmy Zong, Z-H-O-N-G.
But this 911 call on the night of March 13th, 2019 is something that Athens has never seen before. On the phone is 28-year-old Jimmy Zong, a hard-partying University of Georgia graduate and former computer science major. He's reporting a massive theft of cryptocurrency from his modest off-campus bungalow.
I'm having a panic attack.
Okay. Do you need an ambulance?
Zong sounds distressed, and a lot of money is missing.
If you had an approximate amount to say the total value was for the money.
Probably close to $400,000.
In his
But
house?
Zong is sitting on a lot more money than that.
Wait, somebody robbed $400,000 out of his house?
And with this
What?
phone call, he's taking a huge risk
Why do you have that much
because
money?
he has a secret he doesn't want police to learn. Still, he does want to know who stole from him. And when police can't identify a suspect, Zong calls local private investigator Robin Martinelli to help him figure out who took all that money.
He was very nice and kind, and he had a real problem, so he called me.
He just called you out of the blue?
He did.
Martinelli starts her investigation at the scene of the crime.
So we were able to see that somebody had gotten in a window and they had actually broke in.
Zong said the thief took $400,000 worth of cash and 150 bitcoins, then worth almost six.
Hold on. Oh, okay. Never mind. They took a USB thumb drive, it says right here. But he said 150 bitcoins. Like, how do you just steal Bitcoin with cash? Like, how does that even make sense? So he took a thumb drive.
$600,000 was stashed behind his chimney.
It was well hidden,
That's a
and
bad place.
he kept saying over and over that there was.
All right, hold on. So you're telling me you have $400,000 in cash and you can't afford a fucking safe that you bolt to the floor? What is happening? Why can't you afford a safe?
Only a few friends and a few people that knew he kept cash there.
So
idiot.
you put his friends under surveillance?
Most of them, yes.
Inside job, yeah, right? Jesus.
We went into the bar locations. I think we went to some of the houses. Spent a lot of time with Jimmy, went through his house, did some social media investigations, did background checks.
But one question sticks in her mind.
What are you doing with that much cash? And I asked
Right.
over and over, and he said he had invested it. It made no sense. And I tell just about everybody, before you hire me, I'm married to a cop, my girls are cops.
Oh, shit.
The private eye scours the tapes from Zong's elaborate home video surveillance systems.
We were able to see
Obviously,
that we
dude.
thought it was a male, kind of thin, and the person knew exactly where to go. Like, was kind of dodging where the camera might be.
So you thought this might be a person who's been here before?
Correct, yes.
So
Yes, sir.
maybe it's a friend of Jimmy's, someone
Yes.
who's worked for him. To Martinelli, it seems Zong doesn't have many true friends, other than his dog, Chad. So who were his friends? Who was he hanging out with?
I remember a female, a couple of males, just about his age that were just ne'er-do-wells. Very casual, plastic, not really caring. Maybe using Jimmy a little bit. Maybe
They were using him?
I don't know if they really cared about Jimmy.
Yeah. Did he know that?
Well, if he's throwing money around, why the hell are they going to care about you? They just want your money, bro.
I don't think he knew that or wanted to know that. Jimmy wanted to be loved, or Jimmy wanted friends. Jimmy was a good guy.
Go back a few years, and a lot of people in Athens think Zong is a good guy. He's throwing a lot of money around. In addition to his bungalow in Athens, he buys himself a home on nearby Lake Lanier. He buys a boat and jet skis and expensive cars.
He was a few years older than us, and he just loved to party.
Stefana Masick goes to a lot of those parties. She met Zong while she was a student at the University of Georgia.
He would buy me and my friends drinks, and then there were multiple times too where he would buy shots for everyone at the bars.
He would buy shots for every single person in the bar?
Yeah.
I mean, like 100 people?
Yeah, pretty much. I remember he lent me some money that I needed, and then there was never that expectation that I had to pay it back. When he was a friend to you, he was a very generous friend. I would say I came to really enjoy having Jimmy as a friend in my life.
What are the odds she slept with him? What are the odds?
In 2018, when Zong's beloved Georgia Bulldogs make it to the Rose Bowl, he gathers up his party friends, rents a private jet, and takes the whole gang to Los Angeles.
We all flew private, and Jimmy rented a really nice Airbnb, and he got everyone really nice tickets to the game also.
100%, 110%, 99%, 101%.
He ended up giving everyone a budget,
You guys are
and that was very unexpected, you know, just having a friend giving all his friends that came with him on the trip money to just purchase items on Rodeo Drive. So it was kind of like, am I dreaming, you know? Like, it was a very crazy moment.
I was told it was
Hang out with him too if he's giving me
$10,000.
stacks.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It was a number like that.
So what did everybody buy?
10,000 each.
Everyone went to the Cartier store first, and then just bought a lot of purses, belts, jewelry, coats, stuff like that. It was pretty wild. I mean,
no one asked him where this
that
money
doesn't
came
happen every day.
More than a year after the Rodeo Drive shopping spree, Athens police are trying to find out who stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from Zong's house. Lieutenant Jody Thompson of the Athens-Clarke County Police Department leads the local property and financial crimes unit. He says Zong has an elaborate security system, cameras bristling at the door and on the roof of his home. And whenever there's a crime, Zong is happy to share video evidence with Athens PD.
So we would have break-ins, we would have DUIs, we would have accidents.
And Jimmy was always there to help you guys out?
Always, always.
But Zong also has a criminal history of his own, including a DUI and a bizarre incident a few years earlier.
So Jimmy was in a restaurant talking to some girls, and he happens to mention that he has $30,000 worth of blow at his house if they want to come back and party.
$30,000 worth of coke?
$30,000 of cocaine. Unfortunately for Jimmy, there was an off-duty police officer sitting in the restaurant one table over.
That's just bad timing.
It was really bad timing. So with a quick phone call, there was other officers who arrived, and he was arrested. They actually found some drugs on him, and he got a couple felony charges from that.
So he's drunk and disorderly, he's busted for coke possession, he's bragging to girls in bars. I mean, the guy sounds like his life was a little bit out of control.
I think it was. I think Jimmy was always looking for more. He was looking for a friend. I think a lot of people took advantage of that, and I feel bad for him on that because he was so naive.
Zong says he spent...
Wait, he had that much... How do you have that much booger sugar and you're like that overweight if you're doing that much? Like, because that shit makes you not eat, right? Doesn't it make you like not eat or something? Like, wouldn't it make you stupid skinny?
A significant portion of his wealth partying.
Jimmy, admittedly, I've spoken to him a few times since, probably spent about $500,000 just in partying downtown.
$500,000 in
That's
bar tabs?
that's what he estimated. Yes.
Oh, we call it booger sugar. Booger sugar.
He said he spent a lot of money having a good time.
He's living this party monster lifestyle and with no visible means of support.
Right. And he said he just invested in Bitcoin and made his money. And, you know.
And you had no reason to doubt that.
No reason to doubt it.
But that changes when the police investigator gets a call from agents at the IRS.
That's a lot of blow. 30K. You're bragging
Across
about
the
it
country,
at the bar, you're
a
an
crack
idiot.
team of IRS
That's
criminal
fucked up.
investigators specializing in cryptocurrency has spent years tracking the 2012 hack of a criminal dark web marketplace called the Silk Road. Someone stole 50,000 bitcoins from the drug dealers, gun runners, and pornographers who used that site. As the price of the bitcoin
Oh, is this mofo that stole all that money from Silk Road? They didn't know where it went?
Coins
What?
explodes over the next years, the value
Well, that
of that
explains it.
astonishing
Holy
heist
shit.
climbs to more than $3 billion.
But how do you sell that? How do you sell the Bitcoin and not get bagged and like turn it into cash? Like $400,000 worth of cash that you just keep in your fireplace. What?
They asked me about the Bitcoin and how much was in there, and if he talked about where he got it from or anything like that. And I really didn't have the answers for him. But I told him, let me email him, and I'm sure Jimmy will meet with us.
Zong quickly agrees to meet the agents. And when they arrive at his lakefront home, Thompson's body camera is rolling.
Hey, Jimmy. How are you? Hey, you remember me?
The agents go inside Zong's bizarre world.
He comes to the door and he's just got like, it looks like flour all over his face, but he really just had his head in the whole bag.
Learn more about who they're dealing with.
That would have been a
I
riot.
mean, I've always been on the computer guy. I've always been just that kind of thing.
In Athens, Georgia, someone has stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency from local party boy Jimmy Zong. But investigators who looked into that crime get a call out of the blue from armed federal agents of the IRS.
Real quick, like you saw that house, right? Like how small that house was. Like if I had that much money, I'd be hiring people. You know those people that stand outside of Home Depot? I'd be like, come over here. We're digging a bunker in the middle of my house. And I'm going to put all my shit down there. Like I'm going to make a foundation, a little hut nobody's ever going to know about with a trap door. Like you just put it in a fireplace. Like how is that even logical? I don't
Typically,
understand.
when we deal with larger enforcement agencies, we don't ask a lot of questions about their investigation.
That's crazy.
Thompson suddenly finds himself going to Zong's home with two highly skilled cryptocurrency investigators, a federal agent and a contractor working for the U.S. government.
Hey, Jimmy.
My name is Trevor McLean. I'm a special agent with IRS Criminal Investigation.
My name is Sean Magruder. I am the founder and CEO of BlockTrace.
BlockTrace is a company that investigates cryptocurrencies on the blockchain. The IRS hired Magruder for his experience untangling complicated transactions.
Crypto KJ, that is not what I meant. All right, I just meant it was people that weren't going to rat you out. All right, you bastard.
He's been looking into a massive heist from a dark website called the Silk Road for years.
Well, Silk Road is a very unique marketplace, right? Where users could deposit Bitcoins on this exchanger, so to speak, and where they could then purchase goods, services, cocaine, weapons.
All the bad guy stuff.
All the bad guy stuff, right.
And people thought this was a private transaction and they could just get away with it.
They thought.
Well, you guys know, so there was, oh man, I forget what it was. There was this dude that was doing something illegal and I forget what he was doing, but he ended up doing just that. He went to hire some kid online, right? And he ended up having him dig him a bunker in his house. But what he did was when he picked this kid up, he blindfolded him, even though he lived like right down the street from this kid. He drove him around in his car for like an hour and a half, 2 hours before he would go back to his house to make the kid think he didn't live real close. And he would unblindfold him when he was in the basement with like his shovel and whatever he had to do. It's such a messed up story. I'll have to find it and show you guys. But this dude like would dress in like a spacesuit and shit. It was so fucked up. But yeah, it's legit. That's what people do, just so nobody knew where his house was and where this bunker was.
So the beautiful thing about the blockchain is that
until it collapsed and he got caught.
All transactions are preserved going back to 2009 when Bitcoin was first launched.
So all those criminals were just dead wrong. It wasn't private.
It wasn't private, right? It wasn't private at all.
In 2012, somebody steals 50,000 Bitcoins from that criminal exchange, and federal agents begin to try to figure out who done it. A lead in the case doesn't come until 6 years later, when Magruder finds a clue that points to Zong.
One of the special agents who I worked with on the team calls me and says, "Hey, Sean, can you help out and assist with this? If you could just take a look at it, over the course of the weekend, that'd be great." And this was on a Friday. By Monday, I came back with an answer and I said, "Hey, I think we might have something here." And so we noticed some activity that was standing out to us.
What was it?
Here it is. All right. So if you guys ever heard of this dude, Mr. Ballin, like literally, I'm a grown man listening to other grown men read me bedtime stories. This guy has the best bedtime stories ever, or just stories in general. And this one right here, I think it was this kid. See how he dresses up in like a spacesuit? Like he hired somebody to dig a bunker in his house. I'll put this in the live chat. But yeah, dude, he would like blindfold the kid, drive him around for hours so he didn't know where his house was and shit. I'm telling you, go listen to it. It's crazy.
What was it? Great question.
I'm pretty sure it's that one.
It's a good question.
Are you allowed to say?
That is a sort of sensitive law enforcement technique.
You can't talk about it publicly.
Not that specific technique.
But you realize that there were some clues here that you would be able to follow.
Right, absolutely.
And then Zong makes a big mistake with a relatively small amount of money. Zong transfers around $800 worth of Bitcoin to an exchange that has a policy called Know Your Customer, which is referred to as KYC. The policy requires anyone who sends or buys cryptocurrency from the exchange to provide their name and identifying information.
So after issuing a subpoena to that KYC exchange, we had a positive ID on Jimmy.
Because of the subpoena, the exchange has to tell you the name of the person.
That's correct.
And
Did I miss what exchange it was? Did they say? Can you guys let me know in the chat if you know?
use his real name?
He did.
Group, if we don't know.
Investigators follow that trail of clues right to Zong's home. The three men come up with a plan to go see Zong, telling him they're there to investigate the crime against him, never mentioning they're also there to investigate something else, a much bigger crime. And
well, let's put it like this way, right? You have to KYC to be able to get cash out, right? To be able to cash it out to your bank account, like it has to be a KYC site, if I'm not mistaken.
this never-before-seen police body cam video shows the moment in real time. Zong, without hesitation, lets the investigators right in.
Hey, this is Trevor and Sean. They're going to be with me. We went to the door under the premise that these two guys, Sean and Trevor, were going to be assisting me with the investigation into recovering his Bitcoin that was stolen. Yeah, these guys are going to kind of help me out a little bit because we've been getting more of the cases kind of like what you have.
Really?
And
watching that tape, it's almost like he was just desperate for someone to talk to.
I think that might be another side of Jimmy that no one really knew about too, is the loneliness of being that wealthy and not having anybody to share it with.
And you guys walk in the door and start talking to him, and here he opens up.
He did.
You guys get this solved, I'm going to invite y'all up for a beer whenever y'all want. All right.
I kept, again, complimenting his house.
This is so beautiful.
Talk about his dog.
Beautiful dog.
Anything we could do to keep him talking. And as he become more and more comfortable, eventually I asked Jimmy, show us around.
Yeah.
Let's see the whole house.
He'll show us. You can see the baby lake server. Yeah.
There's an L-shaped couch. There's slider doors to the right. And there's a TV on the wall. There's what appears to be a firearm of some sort over the slider door, which we would later learn was a flamethrower.
You had a flamethrower in the house?
We did have a flamethrower.
Sweet. Is it one of them Tesla flamethrowers that Elon Musk built?
Are you doing your own floors? Huh? Are you doing tile work? That's leftover from...
This is the concrete tile? You do this job for a while and you notice things in homes and you think, I could hide something.
Oh, I have that thing. This little safe, I think. Just got like an RFID card. You like slide it on the side of it and it pops open. It's kind of neat.
There.
So were you looking for secret compartments as you went around the house?
Yes.
It's like a gun safe. It's like a foam pad in there. You can cut your gun shape out and like put your gun in it and it just like boop and it slides open. Thing's neat.
It's just kind of the part of the process.
Yeah, come up to the office.
We went upstairs, and on my way to to the room, all three of us, with the Athens PD and IRSCI, we saw the AR-15 on the wall.
You got the AR-15 against the wall? Yeah, it looks beautiful, man.
When you see the AR-15 in the house, do you feel like this guy could be dangerous?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, if you see an AR-15 with a magazine in it hanging on the wall, not in any way, shape, or form locked or bolted and ready to go, I mean, that poses a security threat.
Armed or not, they have to get Zong talking.
Okay, so
I don't know.
I guess kind of a personal question is, how did you acquire the money? I don't even know what you do, Jimmy.
I'm in these days.
Does he tell them right here? Please tell me he doesn't tell them how he stole all this money, like just willingly.
In real estate development, I'm the funding.
Zong shows the investigators a suitcase he used to store $1 million in cash.
Yeah, it's the exact case.
Is that a
Talk
zero
about
helper,
incriminating,
or is
that's
that
crazy.
That's just
same
some random
The
Amazon
confidence
case.
is unreal.
You know, I was trying to impress this girl back then. So I was like,
You're impressing us
let's
too,
try to
like-
pull out $1 million cash and have it as this aluminum briefcase. And just like, you know, I was trying to impress her back then.
Did it work?
Nope.
That never does. Never does.
Did it work?
We eventually went
Nope.
downstairs, saw they had like a party pad built with
A stripper
a
pole.
stripper pole in the middle and a full bar.
Is this your workout? Nope. That's for the girls. Okay. Nice.
You don't see that too often.
You don't see that very often at all. But in behind that bar was a whole nother room of computer servers that he had built out.
So I ran Cat 6 everywhere.
Well, that was a good opportunity.
That's awesome. And fiber. That's amazing.
Wow.
Next, they ask Zong about his history with Bitcoin, and Zong reveals his involvement with crypto goes all the way back to 2009, which is the same year Bitcoin was first launched.
Dude, I wish I knew about Bitcoin then. How many of you guys in the chat knew about Bitcoin back in like 2009, say to like 2013? Like, is anybody an OG here that was in that long ago?
When did you first dive in?
Huh?
When did you first?
Probably like 2009 or?
Investigators begin to see Zong's level of sophistication.
This is like so foreign to me.
Dedicated Bitcoin mining chips. Those two big black guys.
Oh, wow. Oh, I was thinking chips. I wasn't thinking...
Oh, I mean, the individual chips have to be assembled into something.
They continue to probe, getting Zong to explain his security system.
Mining Bitcoin.
It's like 30 seconds, regular sirens goes off.
So did you do that?
40 seconds, that goes.
Yeah, everybody just put when you got into Bitcoin, right, in the chat. A lot of 2012. A lot of 2012s. 2016, 2017 for me. Yeah, I'm interested to know. Let me know.
Wow.
Guys, hit the like button. Appreciate you.
That will make your head pound.
But the most important thing is they have to get Zong to open his laptop.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to need you guys look away because this is going to be my password.
Okay.
I'm just watching. It's like you're typing a sentence over there.
Oh, wait. That's why.
So is this like the equivalent of your hot wallet, where you say you have
Yeah,
1,500?
this
This
is
is your play money.
This is the hot wallet, and then the cold wallet is. I'm not going to tell you where it is. See, that's on camera. I don't even know.
Oh, no.
If that leaks around the department
No,
or something.
no.
I don't.
Investigators see the evidence they need when he opens the laptop, a wallet filled with an enormous number of Bitcoins.
So in the day of the video that we see, you walk out of the house, the three of you are leaving, and we see you go out to the driveway. What are you thinking the moment you walk out that door?
This is incredible. I think we found our guy.
Jimmy, pleasure to meet you, man.
No problem.
After the house tour, the federal agents decide they have enough. Evidence ties Zong to
So this was literally just 2 years ago. This was in 2021.
the 2012 Silk Road hack. It's
is May
all
12th,
about to come
2021.
crashing down for Zong. And it's all because he called 911 to report that someone had stolen some of his stolen loot.
If he hadn't done that,
That's so crazy.
would he still be living large in private jets?
I believe he would.
He's sitting on what would be $3 billion worth of stolen assets, and he calls the cops to report a theft of just a fraction of that. Who does that?
Jimmy.
As they dig
Yeah,
into
just like being devil's advocate, right? Just asking the question. If, say, you stole this like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was stupid cheap back then. What was it, like 20 bucks or something, right? Back then, if that, for all that Bitcoin. Now, it appreciates that much over time. Did you actually steal that much money, or did you only steal the whatever $20 that you actually stole? Like, how would that work in court? I'm just wondering. You know what I mean? It's just kind of interesting to think about like that.
To Zong's story, agents begin to suspect that Zong's skills are proof that he's more than just a typical hacker.
You don't have to answer it. Like, how OG are you?
I don't have the vast majority of them anymore, but I mined at least 300,000.
Wow.
I blew them all downtown drinking in Athens.
Over the years.
Yeah, that was a total just like, you know, again, devil's advocate, just wondering what you guys think. Like, how does the court prosecute somebody for whatever, $3 billion when it was worth, you know, not even a fraction of that? You know what I mean?
The Bitcoin stolen from the Silk Road dark website in 2012 has skyrocketed in value to $3.36 billion.
Oh, hold on. They show it right here. Hold on. What was it at?
Over the years, the Bitcoin stolen from the Silk Road dark website.
Oh, so it was $600,000 back then? Holy shit. All right, so it was still a significant amount, but would they only charge him for stealing that much, or are they going to charge him for the whole $3 billion?
Site in 2012 has skyrocketed in value to $3.36 billion.
That's absurd, bro.
Investigators hunting for the hacker use a ruse to get into Jimmy Zong's home and get him to open his laptop.
Yeah. But you don't even have just like one Bitcoin laying around?
Oh, I mean, 1,500 on that laptop alone.
Oh, serious?
When you're sitting next to him on the couch, he opens his laptop.
Thanks for the laptop.
What do you see on that screen?
Lo and behold, he had 60 or $70 million worth of Bitcoins right there next to us.
So with one glance at the screen on his laptop, you could instantly tell this is a guy who's a credible suspect. He could have pulled this off.
That's right.
No cameras are rolling the day investigators return to Zong's house to execute a search warrant for the 50,000 stolen Bitcoins. But it's a huge law enforcement operation. And one thing is critical for the mission's success. They have to get inside Zong's laptop.
When I did the search warrant briefings
Holy shit.
with all the agents out of the Atlanta field office, it's a hard sell to say, hey, we're gonna hit someone's house tomorrow, multiple locations. Oh, by the way, you may or may not be familiar with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but there's a chance that this person sits on somewhere around 3 billion in cryptocurrency, 50,000 Bitcoin. And
you know what's crazy? That's a good point, Alvida said you can't steal from what is not legal. That's crazy actually to think about like that, right? Like how are they even, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a gray area, to be honest. Regardless of what they think about Bitcoin, it can convert to a lot of money.
And you kind of get this look of like, is this guy from another planet?
We met at a parking lot where I saw a lot of law enforcement, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing now. We're going to be doing a search warrant today.
After we had that rehearsal of how the search warrant would go, me, the original Athens PD detective, and 2 special agents visit Jimmy.
They tell Zong that in order to help with his stolen Bitcoin case, they needed to verify information on his computer.
So you go in and it's still under the pretext that you're there to help him.
That's right.
I brought Chad a dog toy to play with, to keep him pacified, make sure that he was out of the harm's way. And we entered Jimmy's house.
Jesus.
McLeenan is about to finally tell Zong the truth. Investigators are not there to help solve the crime against him. They're there to search his house for evidence of the $3 billion heist.
We started doing our thing and walking through the transactions, you know, getting him to open up his computer.
So you have to have that computer open, unlocked, passwords entered, and then Jimmy physically away from it so you can grab it before it locks itself.
That was the goal. And I started to draw Jimmy's attention away from his laptop. I asked him if we could take a look on his back balcony over the lake.
So he asks Zong to step across the room and help open the sticky sliding glass door.
Jimmy got up, started walking to the slider glass, and my code case stuck what's called a jiggler in the computer, which causes the mouse to move around the screen so that it doesn't lock. We stepped outside. My code case came outside on the patio with us. And just like in movie circumstances, you know, Jimmy's sitting on the back porch. We're like, oh, this is an amazing view. And Jimmy's looking at me and I said, Jimmy, you know me as Trevor. I'm actually Trevor McLean, a special agent with IRS Criminal Investigation, and we're here to execute a federal approved warrant on your house.
Oh shit.
And he kind of had this look like, am I being punked?
Right.
It's at that point where literally in movie time, the search warrant team hit the house, pounding on the door, police with a warrant, flooded the house. And you could see the panic start to ensue in his mind.
So that's the first moment where it flipped for him.
So first mistake was walking away from your computer unattended while it was unlocked.
Yeah. And you were able to take advantage of that 1 minute where he was away from the computer to grab it and keep it open.
I've never even heard of that. I use a jiggler for work, said Big Black. Hopefully you mean like the same thing, but I don't know what, I didn't even know that was a thing. A jiggler? What the hell?
Officers swarmed through the house looking for evidence. Zong's neighbor, Walt Frazier, was there the day it happened.
I didn't know what to think. I mean, I'd never seen that many police anywhere in my walk of life, and then they're all in my front yard, and I went, holy cow.
Upstairs in the bathroom closet, off to the side of the roof, was in fact a popcorn tin. And in that popcorn tin were some towels, which starts to draw your interest as to why you would possess a popcorn tin with towels in it.
Right.
So then one of the searchers started pulling apart the different towels and found the single board computer. Later, we were able to discern with Jimmy's
Look
assistant.
at that sweep. I wonder how much hash rate you think's on that. You got an 860 Evo in there. That shit's ancient. Look at this. Jesus.
That possessed a ton of the Bitcoin.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Using a dog specifically trained to sniff for computer hardware, they find a safe buried in concrete underneath
Wait, they have dogs trained to sniff for computer
some
hardware?
basement flooring tile.
In that safe, we found Bitcoin. We had found a wallet that had the addresses that were associated with the 50,000.
They also find physical Bitcoins that were minted in cryptocurrency's early years, precious metals, and old-fashioned paper currency.
November 9, really late at night, we were able to say we were successful. We found the evidence that we were looking for, and the house lit up. I mean, every agent on site cheered.
After the cheering dies down, investigators also realize that Zong was more than an ordinary criminal hacker. The IRS concluded that Zong was what's known as a Bitcoin OG, slang for original gangster, one of the early developers who drove the rise of cryptocurrency.
So he contributed to the code. He would constantly offer up suggestions on how to improve it.
But Zong said it wasn't his coding skills that allowed him to steal the Bitcoin from the Silk Road. In his plea statement, Zong said he stumbled across the flaw accidentally.
In his statement, Jimmy says that the way he stole these Bitcoin was he was withdrawing some assets from Silk Road. He had been using it to purchase cocaine, and he realized if he simply double-clicked, he could withdraw more than he had put in. Is that what happened?
To the instance that he would just double-click the withdraw button, we don't know the answer to that question.
I mean, that seems awfully simple.
Yeah. But what gets a little bit more complicated is what we were able to discern with monikers that Jimmy had used, that he knew exactly how much was in the hot wallet of the Silk Road in September of 2012. So in that instance, he knew when he stole 50,000 Bitcoin from the Silk Road, he knew exactly what the max was that he could get away with.
And he hit that max?
Yeah.
Wow.
Zong says his skills also impressed somebody else, Ross Ulbricht, the man who created the Silk Road site that Zong attacked. Online, Ulbricht went by the moniker Dread Pirate Roberts, and according to Zong, Ulbricht agreed to simply give Zong the Bitcoins he stole plus 5,000 more as a reward.
Jimmy and the Dread Pirate Roberts were in contact with each other, right?
That's what Jimmy alleges it. We couldn't find any evidence to support that position.
Why would the Dread Pirate Roberts pay Jimmy a reward for stealing from the Dread Pirate Roberts? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Our understanding was that that was in response to helping him fix an error with the Silk Road payment processing system.
So the idea is that Jimmy exposed a flaw and exploited it to steal the money. Exactly. And then he sort of sold that flaw back to the Dread Pirate Roberts and said, I'll explain to you how I did it if you let me keep the money.
Yep.
Court documents state after the hack,
Moral of the story is start double-clicking everything.
Zong used sophisticated laundering techniques to use stolen Bitcoin for lavish trips and real estate investments.
So he took advantage of Bitcoin mixing services out there that would mix, his transactions with other people's transactions, and then
AKA Tornado Cash, right? Because they got just in trouble for money laundering or whatever for mixing up a bunch
come
of
out
shit.
the other end, right? Where they would be clean, so to speak.
In the end, though, Zong didn't get to keep the money. After the U.S. government confiscated the assets, victims had the opportunity to come forward and claim their Bitcoin, but nobody did, which isn't surprising given that the Silk Road was an exchange for criminal activity, and the feds sold off Zong's Bitcoin. Tyler Hatcher is the special agent in charge of the Los Angeles Field Office for IRS criminal investigation.
So Jimmy stole the money.
but the U.S. government is going to get to keep it.
Correct.
There's some irony there, right?
Yeah.
There is some irony there, yeah.
When you think about this case, you had a hacker stealing from the Silk Road, and the clients of the Silk Road were just awful people, right? I mean, you had drug dealers, gun runners, all kinds of bad guys on there. The victim here is another set of criminals. So it's hard to have sympathy for anybody involved in that case. How do you approach a case like that?
You know, there's that saying, there's no honor among thieves, right? So when we talk about illicit funds that are out there, the last thing we want is any criminal being able to spend it, right? That's why we have jobs, that's why we look for these opportunities.
Hatcher says some of it will likely go to the local police department in Athens.
Yeah, it's bad for you guys to steal money, but it's okay if we steal it and sell it and use it for our personal gains. No problem.
The government certainly has not been hurt by Jimmy's conduct whatsoever.
That's crazy.
Michael Bachner is Zong's attorney for this case.
If Jimmy had not stolen the coins and the government had, in fact, seized them from Ulbrecht, they would have sold them 2 years later in 2014, as they did with other coins, and would have gotten $320 a coin, or made somewhere about $14 million.
This is the point that I was kind of making, right?
Now, as a result of Jimmy having them, the government has gotten a $3 billion profit.
Bachner says at the time Zong stole the coins, he did not believe he was committing a federal crime.
Bitcoin back then.
Well, that's true because it wasn't legal. Nothing. I mean, it's still not legal, right? Well, I mean, kind of. It's a gray area, right? It's just, it's one of those things. Back in the day, like it was just fake internet money. Like
it was very much like the Wild West. The coins had sometimes no value, or such a fluctuating value.
At sentencing, Bachner described the abuse Zong faced from the other kids at school.
These paintings, he looks like Sloth from the Goonies.
He's on the spectrum for autism. He was subject to consistent, unabated abuse, which included randomly being punched in the face for no reason. He would go to school, do very well in school because he was really smart, and then go home, lock himself in his room or go to his room and be on his computer.
Nathaniel Popper is the author of Digital Gold, which chronicles the history of Bitcoin. He says a hacker culture ran through the early Bitcoin community.
You have to see if you can break the system to figure out how it doesn't work. So when the system broke, it was viewed as an opportunity to learn from it, to figure out how can we strengthen this for the future. If we want this to work in the long run, we need to repair the little leaks in it. There's this strange way in the Bitcoin story where everybody who played a significant role is both a villain and a hero at the same time. And that conflict, that tension is there in Silk Road, and I think it's also there in Jimmy's story.
Zong pled guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. No friends or family were present for Zong's sentencing, but he received a half-dozen letters of support from friends, one of whom said, "My heart goes out to Jimmy because all he wants in this life is to love others and for others to love him." In a tearful statement, Zong said the Bitcoin made him feel important and worth something and asked for no jail time so he could take care of his closest remaining friend, his dog, Chad.
Chad and Jimmy have an extremely close, loving relationship. Chad is 13 years old now and sick, has feeding tube, and Jimmy spends time and effort caring for him.
I think he was stuck. He didn't talk to his family that I knew of. So I don't know of anybody he'd been close to but his dog, Chad.
His dog?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, his dog, Chad.
I think he just wanted to have a lot of fun and maybe outsmart having a traditional life.
Like, why even cover your face when you're walking to shit like this? Like, you think your face isn't already out there?
Get a white slide.
On April 14th, the verdict came down. We waited outside the courtroom during Zong's 2-hour sentencing,
Here comes.
in which he received a year and a day in prison for his role in the Silk Road hack.
Jimmy, how do you feel after this?
A year and a day?
Why'd you steal the money,
That's
Jimmy? Did you think you were going to get away with it? Anything else to say, Jimmy?
You got a slap on the wrist, and you know why? It's because he gave the government $3 billion. That's exactly why. What? Oh my God, that's all he got? That is shocking. The Athens Clark County Police Department never solved the mystery of who stole the stolen Bitcoin from Zhang. So they don't know who stole it. That person remains at large. Wait. So if they stole a thumb drive from this dude, along with the cash, like I understand you ain't going to find the cash, right? But the Bitcoin, how's that dude getting into it? Does he have the private seed phrase? Like, did the guy have like the seed phrase wrapped in this USB so this dude could release the funds? Like, what? How does that work? Zhang is serving his sentence at the federal prison camp in Montgomery, Alabama. Chad is staying with a friend. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is brutal. That is brutal. Well, shout out to CNBC for that. That was a good documentary, actually. That was impressive. I'm thrilled that we just watched that whole thing. That's great, actually. I still can't believe he only got a year in jail. That is outrageous. Let's see. It was probably a QT wallet. All they need was the file in the USB. Oh, Matt K, you're probably right. You're probably right. That's fucked up. Well, yeah, I mean, isn't there a way? There's got to be a way to trace that, though. If they got into his main computer where he had a bulk of the funds, you got to be able to trace it back, right, to where it's split off and then find the, right? Like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. Everything's traceable with Bitcoin. So that's kind of crazy. Man, I can't believe he only got a year and a day in prison for stealing $3 billion. That's wild. And there's people that will, like, you know, thrown in jail for like 12 years for selling the dime bag down the street like 10 years ago. Oh my God, this is wild. What is this world we live in? This world's so fucked up. All right, on that note, we're gonna get the hell out of here, guys. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me. Yeah, I gotta go record some videos, so hopefully you guys can jump over to Crypto Mikkel and say hello to him. I'm gonna raid him right now. So also, if you guys, real quick, shameless plug, if you guys are interested in these mugs, please feel free to go check them out. I have it in the pinned comment above. I just started a whole new merch store trying to get whatever, just stuff that I want, right? So like I got a bunch of mugs and all this shit put here. I wanted some Dynex merch because I don't have any Dynex merch, so Caspa as well. If you guys are interested, feel free to go check this stuff out. If not, no big deal. Is what it is. It's just things that I wanted that I don't see available anywhere else. So anyways, guys, go see Crypto Mikkel. Appreciate you all for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys later on tonight. Misfit Mining Saturday Night Live. And until then, have a good one. Peace out.